The vast majority of video games tend to play out exactly as you'd expect. Worlds are saved, evil villains get thwarted, dastardly schemes don't come to fruition, and the cart, in this case, literally has Mario in it. For the most part, that's what we enjoy. But every now and then, a curveball gets thrown in. The hero you've been rooting for turns out to be playing for the other team, or once dead heroes rise from the grave. Perhaps your integrity is tested more than it appears to be, or maybe none of it was real in the first place. Personal favourite, the man wearing sunglasses indoors actually wasn't a bad guy. Whether it's the logic behind it or just us not being as clever as we think we are, some of these still slip us by. They seem obvious now, of course, but looking back, they sent jaws plummeting to floors. My name is Adam Cleary, and these are 10 video game moments nobody saw coming. Number 10, it was all a dream, Super Mario Bros. 2. It's not very often you can compare a Mario game to a long-running American TV show. But here we are. The Dallas ending, which has gone down in history as one of the worst ever endings to have ever ended, has been unironically copied by a Mario game. That's right, the infamous "it was all a dream" trope. Super Mario Bros. 2 has always been an odd one in Mario canon. Originally a game named Doki Doki Panic, but reskinned as Mario, it's certainly a black sheep. That aside, it was still a shockingly annoying moment to beat the game, wart and all, only to have this pulled on you. Now yes, for clarity, you are told it's a dream at the start, but then the story is that the dreams themselves are real. But then Mario just wakes up in his bed and decides he should sell his father's company to Ken Watanabe and become his own man. I think that's it anyway. Number 9, Wesker is a double agent, Resident Evil. Yes, I know, it all seems obvious now. The vagueness, the constantly disappearing, the wearing of sunglasses indoors at night. But still, back in 1996, gamers weren't prepared for this level of depth in storytelling. It was becoming a more interactive medium with voice-driven narrative, bigger scope and stories, but still nothing on this level before, and especially not this out of nowhere. I mean, there were clues. If you picked up the notes along the way, you would have seen the STARS captain hiding in plain sight in a photo of scientists, still wearing his sunnies weirdly enough, but other than that, nothing. Engineered as a chance to collect data for Umbrella on the field use of the Tyrant, Wesker's betrayal came as a deep cut, and it was great to see him receive his comeuppance from his own creation. But as we all know, you can't keep a bad Wesker down as he pops up in the sequels again and again and again. You see what I mean now though, from the start about not trusting people in sunglasses? Number 8, you killed your wife, Silent Hill 2. Whilst Resident Evil and Silent Hill may have vied for the horror crown in the PS1 days, by the next generation, they'd gone their separate ways. The former going more action-focused, whilst the latter went for the psychological, emotionally toying route instead. For the most part of the sequel to Harry Mason's adventures, we're stuck in this constant flux of what is or isn't real in James Sunderland's quest to find his wife from a letter she once wrote. His dead wife, incidentally, to add to the confusion. We soon discover that the town draws on the negative elements of the individual in question's psyche, hence the enemies being manifestations of James's sexual frustrations and guilt in the sexualized nurses and Pyramid Head respectively. But why does James feel this way? Because, we discover in the endgame, he killed his wife. Upset and frustrated with her illness, he ends her suffering with a pillow, supposedly doing her a favor. Not a single player made this discovery and did anything but sit there silently on their sofa, blinking for a solid hour. Number 7, Liquid Plays You, Metal Gear Solid. The first of many, both in the franchise and this list, of Metal Gear's unexpected moments. I don't know who betrayed Hideo Kojima in his formative years, but they have a lot to answer for. The premise seemed simple enough. Spy saves world by using 3 important items to stop a nuclear bipedal tank from launching big nasty missiles. And of course he is aided by a support team of well-trusted colleagues, and all just seems relatively well. Then of course you insert the last PAL key and inadvertently activate Metal Gear X instead of, stopping the launch. Which is obviously quite weird because Master Miller himself told you that the terrorists have already activated it. So what the hell? Oh no, wait, of course, Master Miller is actually dead, and instead of your former mentor, it's your evil brother Liquid Snake leading you on a merry jig. The absolute bell hat. It was a blow, of course, to discover that in your mission of prevention, you were the one responsible for Rex's activation. Played like a damn fiddle. Number 6, Game Within a Game, Star Ocean Till the End of Time. The Star Ocean series had a lot going for it up until 2003. What shocked players was that for the most part, all of the story beats were familiar. Band of adventurers saves world, learns values and twists on the way, all while taking it in turns to hit enemies. Bread and butter in as far as RPG storytelling goes. So when the story goes a bit, how do I put this, Tron, that players started wrinkling their noses up at the unexpected turns of events. Gone is the imperative of saving the world at large, instead swapped for a universe within a game world that someone else has created. Weirdly, the party just carries on with this knowledge, but the grandiose drive to save the world is somewhat lost when you're not actually saving the world. Number 5, you're sort of the monster. Broken Age. Ah yes, Broken Age, Tim Schafer's insanely crowdfunded interactive story, finally released in 2014 and was a cute little split narrative between two characters. The independent against the grain Vela and the oblivious happy-go-lucky Shay are characters that seemingly have no connection in their respective worlds. Vela is going to be sacrificed as part of a ritual to the monster Mog Chofra, while Shay whiles away the days alone on a spaceship, occasionally rescuing helpless creatures and partaking in the same training missions over and over and over again. The unexpected comes when we discover that Shay's ship is in fact Mog Chothra, with Shay being fooled into kidnapping girls like Vela from their villages. It was such a narrative drop at the end of Act 1 that it left many ahead to be scratched, having to wait a whole year for the second part. Now, events do get weirder, yes, in the second act, but I will not spoil them here. As so far as cliffhangers go though, and with a big helping of Schaeferism into the mix, it was also not one that many saw coming. Number 4, Your Wife is Inside Your Arm, Bionic Commando. Look, right, I never said the entries on this list were going to be good surprises, which is convenient, as this one from Capcom's edgy 2009 reboot was about as weird then as it still is right now. Given that the story is a bit loopy to begin with, it makes you wonder if someone in the pitch meeting just grabbed the first thing that came to their head, then forgot it, remembered again, slurred their words on the way out, and everyone else was just too embarrassed to correct them. Never mind that bionically amplified people were sentenced to death despite the government creating them in the first place. Forget that Nathan Spencer is suddenly pardoned because a bigger threat has just popped up. We'll even gloss over the standard, the man who relisted you turns out to be the baddie bit, as that's just action story 101. No, what we will do is just focus on the absurdest part of the game. Spencer's missing wife is actually part of what makes his arm work. Some piffle about syncing the arm up on an emotional and physical level to make it work correctly, or yada yada something apparently. In other words, your dead wife makes you swing from buildings better than if you did not have a dead wife in your arm. The more you say it, the better and also worse it gets. Number 3, Big Boss is Alive, Metal Gear Solid 4. When Guns of the Patriots finally arrived in 2008, we'd already had plot twists, retcons, double and triple crosses, clones, and anything else Konami could crib from every spy movie ever. What more could we possibly want/take by this point? How about being told the greatest soldier to have ever lived, the man indirectly responsible for the Les Enfants Terribles program, the man long thought killed by his own son's hand twice, is not actually dead? It's been a long time, Snake, you hear as the camera pans up to the now older Big Boss. It was a hell of a finale, as well as closure on the story of Big Boss and the events that brought us to this point. Never mind that it's been severely messed with since and had nanomachines thrown in or whatever, it was a fitting end. Number 2, Haytham is a Templar, Assassin's Creed 3. Gonna sound a bit like a broken record here, but by the time Assassin's Creed 3 rolled around, we'd already had revelations about higher beings, puppet masters, and the Knights Templar being properly shady and all that. What more could Ubisoft possibly give us that we would want/need, or whatever it was I said the first time? How about that the sullying feeling that you're playing as a dirty, rotten Templar for the first few hours of the game? Would that do it, maybe? Perhaps it was naive of us not to see this coming, but in the 4 home console releases prior, as well as all the spin-offs, we'd played as assassins. I mean, it's there, look, it's in the title. So when Haytham swears in Charles Lee to the Order, you think nothing of it. Then you hear the words, "You are a Templar," bringing the crushing realization that you've been playing as the wrong side for the entire game thus far. It was a great reveal and not one many were expecting. Desmond's "wait, what?" exclamation echoing the sentiments of literally every single person playing it. Number 1, In Your Head, Spec Ops. Now, you wouldn't be blamed for thinking, oh god, this is going to be about the white phosphorus bit again, yawn, as that is admittedly what normally comes up. Not the case here, friends, or at least not exactly anyway, because this is more about what it does to your poor man here's psyche. We just thought Walker had hardened his resolve and strove to carry on the mission whilst tensions frayed within the group dynamic. You finally made contact with the renegade Colonel Conrad after fighting your way through his forces. Job eventually done, mission pretty much accomplished. But the shock comes when we discover that Conrad is long dead. The stress of the incident has broken him, using an imaginary Conrad as a way of dealing with the tragedy that's unfolded. It's rare to see such a powerful narrative in an otherwise standard shooter, and it's one which still has not been topped since. So there you have it, those are 10 video game moments nobody saw coming, read to you by a man who still does a sharp intake of breath every time he sees Aerith on that altar. Let me know what you made of it all in the comments below, and of course don't forget to like, share and subscribe. In the meantime though, thank you so much for watching. I've of course been Adam Cleary, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.